We're snorting cap rates and shooting up cash flow here at Deal Junkies.
Welcome back. Oh, that's so weak.
No, that's good.
So bad. Welcome back to Deal Junkies. I missed you guys.
Missed you too.
It's been forever.
Yeah.
When did you run 100 miles? That seems forever ago.
2 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So glad you got that off your list. We don't have to hear about it anymore. And your tribute episode to Paul. Amazing. Good job, guys. Way to not cry like I do.
Well, you'd be surprised.
I'm proud of you.
We hit it.
But we've got one of my best friends in the world. I don't know if I should say best friend in the world, but we go back 5-6
You just
years.
downgraded him? You took him to best friend level and then you said never mind?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I don't want to offend anyone else.
Best friends in the business circle in a mid-sized U.S. city of Portland, Oregon.
Qualifications are hard. But I'm really happy we've got Scott Dallinger here today. And as you can see, he's wearing a suit and tie. He is a deal junkie, don't worry. He doesn't always wear a suit and tie. He did not wear that for us. That was the first thing he told me because he knows how I feel about suit and ties.
Good. That makes me happy to hear.
He met with the...
I might be the first real estate investor that anyone's ever seen wearing a suit and tie.
Yeah. No, it shocked me, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the brokers that wear those things. But he had to see the Canadian Trade Commissioner today down in Colombia, and so he looks good and sexy. Quick background. So,
Whoa, you're just gonna leave it there? You saw the Canadian Trade Commissioner in Colombia, and then
yeah, we leave cliffs.
okay.
This is now people are committed to the entire episode.
Perfect. All right,
We'll bring it around.
Quick background on Scott. So Scott has done a lot of business in South America. He actually has a business degree from the University of Oregon. He moved, and he's from Southern California. He moved to Oregon like 6-7 years ago, pre-COVID, started a wholesaling company. And then right around just before COVID and then through COVID, that's when I really got to know Scott. I'll tell you some of my first stories about him. With wholesalers, you never know when they're doing well. You only hear when they're not. Right? Mm-hmm. You don't hear about the stuff that gets wholesaled because no one talks about that. Mm-hmm. Everyone's just happy. Mm-hmm. You only hear when, oh shit, I bought something I shouldn't have bought. And so you probably don't even know this, but the first time you came on my radar was when you called my old business partner because you bought a property in Lake Oswego and it had too many trees.
5850 Kenny Street. I just found out we never canceled our insurance on that.
Oh shit. Did you get a nice refund 8 years later?
I think it's just going to be like a 7-month refund to the end of that particular year.
Whoa.
This is why you have an insurance tracker, which ours is getting confusing, but it's important. That was my first foray into Scott, which is like, oh, great. California coming up here to be wholesaling, has no clue what our market's like. But through time and energy, he slowly connected with a lot of people in our network. And we're in a lot of private group texts. So we've had a lot of shared memories and moments. We've had a lot of fireside chats. Some of my favorite images in this world are with Scott. So I really knew he started being cool when we had this little trip to Bandon Dunes, and he started tackling me every chance he could. It was almost like a fetish.
You looked like you needed it.
I did need it. But one of those tackles was in our poker game. He came over and pulled me down in a chair. So there's a photo of me laughing my head off, laying backwards on my back in a chair, one of those plastic outdoor chairs because it was during COVID and we were being too loud to be inside.
And your face beat red.
It was a great memorable
drinking
moment.
Involved.
And then Scott's a lot like me. He has a little piss and vinegar in him. He's very clean cut. He hardly ever cusses, so you don't expect it. But one of the other memories is we had this floating trip down the Clackamas River, and I just don't like rafts, so I bring a paddleboard every time I float. And then what I do is I weave in and out of people, and I pull rafts everywhere. But I was also the only one not drinking because everyone else was with the drinks on the floats. And so Scott starts getting ornery and starts messing with me. And at one point, he knocks me off my board, and everyone's on nice floaty things, and we're going through a big rapid, and I'm getting knocked around by rocks and swallowing water. And so that kind of got me on the radar. And then a little later on, we came to this pinch point, which was pretty bad, and he really pissed me off. And Dane's experienced this, where when I get really pissed off, I just kind of end something. I let everything be known about how I feel, and I storm off.
Did you take my raft? No.
I did. I took the raft back. I think he was trying to take my paddleboard again, or no, we needed to be in the raft because of this heavy rapid, and he wasn't listening, and he was drunk, and I was yelling at him, and anyways, I got in the raft, he didn't, and he got stuck on this island. And he didn't have shoes on, and I was the only person that had like these aqua socks, and it's rocky and it's hard to walk on. And so I walked all back there, pride in hand, ego in hand. I grab him by the arm, like holding him like he's my bride, walking him back through all these rocks to where everyone is in the raft. And our friend took a photo, and then Jaron coined it, and he said, bromance, a version of Brokeback Mountain, and it was Strong Boy and Tenderfoot. So I'm sorry it was a little bro-ish, but just those two images bring back just a lot about how I feel with you. So we're going to get into business, and we're going to get in operations, and he is a true operator. It's one thing I just love about Scott is he's an operator. He looks for problems. He asks questions on how to solve problems. More importantly, he takes action. And so when you work with people and you talk about problems and they don't take action, they drive you crazy. And then they get put in the spot in life that you just don't want to communicate with them. Scott's not that human being. So, dude, that was a long intro. I'm happy you're on. I really get it. I'm excited to catch up about what he's doing in Colombia. So to finish that story, he kind of got a little sick of wholesaling and wanted to get more out of real estate, moved back to Colombia. His wife's from Colombia. They have 2 young kids. And he took a job now in international sales, essentially, which you'll dig into. And that's why you're meeting with the Canadian Trade Commissioner.
I didn't think you were going to start the intro with Brokeback
Great intro.
Mountain.
Brought it back to the beginning.
Yeah. It was a bromance. It was really romantic because we just argued and then we bonded through. Yeah. So I probably could have left
And
that
here
part
we are.
out.
No, that's awesome.
Okay.
That's awesome.
All right. So there's your intro to Scott. Where do you guys want to go?
Well, so yeah, we haven't got to know you yet. So one, I always hear Colombia is really dangerous. I'm guessing you might disagree since you live there. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Colombia is dangerous in certain parts, and certain types of crime, but in the past it's been way more dangerous. Basically, throughout its 500-year history, it's been extremely bloody since the Spanish. And after the Spanish, then you had a war between the Catholics and the Protestants. And then in the 1950s and 1960s, you had the rebel groups, the FARC, the ELN. So it's been, and then after that, or actually that never went away. And then you had Pablo Escobar and the drug trade in the 90s. So literally we're in the first 15 years of relative stability in the country. But Colombia is awesome. So anyone that's come here just really wants to come back or they want to stay. So since I started coming down to Colombia in 2011, I just had an amazing trip. I learned Spanish and then eventually took a Latin America sales job for Red Wing Shoes, where I traveled to Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Brazil. It was 13 countries in Latin America. And the reason I did that is I just really love the Latin culture and the Latin vibe and the Latin way of doing things. So, and I lived in Colombia for the first time in 2014. As far as how it is today, yeah, there are some rebel skirmishes going on in certain parts of the country, but not in the big cities like Medellin or Bogota or Cartagena. Those are really safe to travel to. But I would say anyone that comes down here, you got to keep your guard up. So it's in the United States, you might leave your phone on the table and turn your back, or leave your laptop and go to the bathroom. If you're in a coffee shop, if you do that here, it's going to be gone. So
That's
love
crazy.
the Colombians, but you got to keep a close watch on your stuff. It's more like crimes of opportunity from people in the lower socioeconomic level that can happen. But there have been some assassinations by hitmen not far from where I live. So
Whoa.
that's a danger that doesn't affect me because they're targeted. But yeah, some emerald barons. Colombia has the purest emeralds in the world. There have been some targeted hits on some emerald barons, and I think some other businessmen and a politician. like all within the last 12 months.
Ooh.
That's crazy.
How do you like doing business in Colombia?
Not stuff that happens.
Are you trading emeralds?
No, doing business is great. Doing business is very relational. It's all about trust. It's all about relationships. If you don't have a relationship, you're not doing business. So it's really hard to get into a company completely cold. You have to have a friend or a family member, or like a family member of a friend, some sort of in where they know you. And then once they know you, then then it could be really fun. Then you have, big Latin lunches and you go on trips and stuff. So I really like it.
So how do you, because most people like getting into real estate, and a lot of people listening to this, they think, okay, I go get into the real estate business, I buy a bunch of rentals, I build passive income, and I quit my day job and move to Colombia. But you're taking a job in Colombia. Can you speak to like how you kind of like how you came about that and why?
Yeah, that's a great question. When I was in the thick of the shit in wholesaling, and I mean that literally and figuratively. So when I was wholesaling and building up my company, there got to be a point where it wasn't fun anymore. Like we were making money, and then when we started flipping houses, we had a lot of expenses going out the door. I started to deal with some really unfavorable people on a regular basis, contractors, tenants. Had my own personal safety threatened numerous times, and many stories I can tell. And I started to long for the days when I made less money, but got to put on nice clothes and go to a meeting and have some nice lunches and do business travel and nice hotels and so like longing for those days. And this was like a several year process where I just sort of wanted to eventually get back to that. And then in the year before I moved to Colombia, I had a bunch of those deals stacked up at the same time with really crazy tenants, people like threatening me, people like yelling at me in my face, contractors. There was one where I had a contractor that was supposed to do a sump pump in a crawl space on a flip that I had to sell that I was losing money on. And he did a shitty job, and then I couldn't get him back. And I had paid him, and I ended up crawling through the mud in that crawl space. And that particular house, we bought it, and I found out after I bought it that there was like a lady had passed away in the house, and they didn't find her body for like a few weeks after, or I don't know how long it took, but there was an outline of the body in the subfloor in the crawl space where when I was crawling through the mud because the contractor that I paid to do this work walked off the job, and I looked up and I saw the body outline 2 inches from my head. I was like, F this.
I thought you were about to say shit. You found the body underneath when you started that.
What would be
not the body, the outline, the body, the body goo outline in the subfloor.
Yeah, but you're crawling through
so
body
between that
juice.
And like,
I didn't think about that.
I'd rather see the body so you don't crawl through
Just
body juice.
Yeah.
That's the grossest story, dude. That is terrible.
Yeah.
Jane's about to
I don't like that at all, dude.
Yeah.
And then like another deal at the same time in La Pine that I couldn't like I hired the wrong contractor, this typical like angry white contractor guy that was probably an alcoholic and drug addict, and I can't say his name now because of a confidentiality agreement where we reached a settlement. But this guy like took money, did a shitty job, and then got vindictive, and then threatened to put a bunch of liens on my property. And on top of that, there was one of these really bad, he wasn't a tenant. He was more like the mom passed away and he was the son still living in the house. And all these like crazy characters in rural Oregon that I had to pay money to and like cajole, am I pronouncing that right? Cajole to leave and do all these side deals. And this son went berserk on me because I didn't buy dog food for his dog. And then he I finally got him out of there, but he left a bunch of human shit, like his shit, because he was living in an RV. So all these things compiling at the same time, I was like, fuck this. So I wanted to get out of the shit of real estate investing.
He's cussing. We got the real Scott out. I'm so excited.
Were you like trying
put a beep on that one?
Were you trying to buy and hold any of these, or were you just flipping and wholesaling everything?
Yeah, I did buy 10 or 11 properties during that time frame during the last 6 years. So we have a single family and duplex rental portfolio.
Okay.
And the best deals, I basically did burrs. So we have a portfolio, and then we flipped during that time. We wholesale during that time. So that's a long story to say, like, why did I take a job in Colombia? Well, once I moved to Colombia, I worked something out with the guy who used to be my acquisition manager, where he's now my business partner. So he runs the day-to-day of the wholesaling business. I more or less handle legal compliance, taxes, and marketing. And he's now meeting with the sellers and doing dispositions and working with contractors. So that ended up being a really good arrangement for both of us, where he is now obviously earning a lot more money. He's taking on more responsibility. He's having a lot of personal growth. And then it freed up a lot of my time. So once I moved down here, I found myself not bored, because it's hard for me to get bored, but I'd spend a lot of time in cafes, reading, drinking coffee. And I was like, well, what should I do? So I started to look for opportunities and put some feelers out, and ended up with the current arrangement that I have now. So I'm head of sales for Latin America for a Canadian company that has a renewable energy technology. And, it's going well. I just started like 6 months ago. Last week I was in Ecuador meeting with shrimp farms in Guayaquil, eating some amazing food in Ecuador, amazing seafood. Went to Quito, and but like, I've done that lifestyle before and I kind of like it. Just the hard thing now is doing travel with small kids, because I don't want to spend that much time away from them.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I think just to touch on what you were already talking about, I think people have the vision that Trevor talked about of, I'm going to get into real estate, I'm going to build something up, and then I'm going to be able to retire like at whatever age. And there's two pieces to that. One being, you kind of figure out that you want to keep playing the game. And so even if you do get to the point where at one point you would have been able to retire, your lifestyle might inflate a little bit, or it's like, well, what else am I going to do? I'm running this business anyways. And then the second part being like, it's not just easy. Like, it's not something that you can just go into and like it becomes passive naturally unless you build out really, really good systems. And so we've talked in the past just about how like the stress that can come along with real estate for a lot of people like won't be worth it. And like, if you don't have the, I guess, the threshold to be able to sleep at night with everything that's going on in life. And frankly, wholesaling is a much, much harder, dirtier, if I may.
It's a different kind of stress than I'm sure building multifamily.
Well, certainly. Yeah.
You have a lot of financial stress.
Yeah, there's financial stress to it. But I mean, even then, like once the project's funded, you're just, as long as you have a good contractor, which we do, we got really fortunate with who runs our projects. Like, we can kind of just let it happen. Like, let the project do its thing essentially until it goes to lease up, and then there's stress there. But even then, you're building a different product type than the type of people that you have to deal with on a lot of wholesales, or at least it sounds like the type of people you were dealing with on some of your projects.
Yeah, the stress is more acute because the emotions are more high on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
Right? So it's easier to relegate your emotions when you're communicating with people that understand how to relegate their own emotions. But when day to day you're just dealing with people that are in emotional, and it is trauma, right? Like, trauma doesn't require blood and guts. And so wholesalers are dealing with people through cognitive trauma. That's a lot to take on. And I think that's why a lot of people get out of the day-to-day activity of wholesaling. You may retain the business aspect of it, but staying in the people part of it is very taxing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, by nature, the people that you're searching for are the people who have gotten themselves into a problem that they can't solve on their own.
Correct.
Like, that's your avatar, is somebody who has somehow put themselves in a position where they don't know how to solve the problem. And so you have to come in and solve it.
Or deal with the person who's the problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
They can't deal with the person who's the problem.
That's the biggest one. You're solving
the people,
and the dopamine hits can be so high because you're solving someone else's problem by taking care of a relational conflict, typically.
Yeah.
One of my best experiences was, helping a mom negotiate $30K cash for keys for her skinhead, jail meth head son, hoarder that would not leave her house.
30K?
She had to cash for keys her son?
Yeah, for 30K.
No.
And the
30K?
30K. And before that, I remember, so I had met...
Got shocked.
Mike helped her negotiate a 30K. Are you thinking that's really high and he could have negotiated better? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, we paid 5 or 10K cash.
There's a lot of
Never heard 30,
backstory.
but,
There's
you know,
a lot of backstory to
Yeah.
where he
yeah,
felt
I'm
mom.
sure there's a reason.
At one point, the house was his in the will, and that's what the.
Oh.
So I was working with attorneys. That guy, she didn't want to file an eviction on her son because she didn't want that on public record.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we had to
Fair.
file eviction.
Oh,
And then when the cops came, he just hid in the hoarder garage.
no way.
Yeah, he
and
was
he
there.
knew those lands better than anybody else.
Exactly.
They couldn't get him.
They were like 8 of them. Couldn't find them. They looked everywhere.
Wow.
They leave, and then like 3 minutes later, he comes crawling out of
Maybe.
but at least the pocket we could change locks. But
Whoa.
that was before that. I had met multiple times, but before that one last meeting where he actually cried at the meeting, I texted my old business partner. I was like, "If you don't hear from me in an hour, call the cops. This is where I'm at." That's the reality of the situations you go into. But then that
Yeah.
reward, right? She's so thankful, and then when she gets a Christmas card and gives you a call, so the rewards are so high, and that plays into a lot of that acute stress. And so it's a whole different world to work in from a stressful standpoint.
You have to deal with mentally ill people with no training to do that.
Yeah, you become a counselor,
And
but you didn't
essentially-
get your degree in counseling.
Yeah.
Right.
That's hilarious.
I will say this: it's really easy to spend someone else's 30 grand. Like spending other people's money is a lot
Yeah.
easier than yours.
If it achieves the goal, then sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, essentially, you've moved from active business or real estate operator to employee on one side, but you're still a passive real estate operator, a passive real estate investor. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, due to the rental income, like you talked about, people want to build up a portfolio and then retire. Well, I have that portfolio that allows me to do what I want to do. So it allowed me to move my family down here to Colombia, to not work if I choose to, and to work, and I choose to do that. But what I have going on right now is I have the job with the renewable energy company. And by the way, like this job, I've set expectations up front with him that I have a real estate business that I also operate. So, don't control my time, essentially. I'll be accountable for results, but not my time. They agreed to that. So that's perfect scenario for me.
Yeah.
Like I'll get them the results that they need as long as they don't control my time. I don't want to have to ask for vacation, and I don't. And I don't want to have to ask for a day off, and I don't. So
Do you think, did you take the job to just
do
kind
that.
of assimilate into the culture and like meet people who are working there more so? Or do you like that
yeah,
job
kind of. I mean,
specifically?
I wanted to travel to more countries, and but also I didn't want to just sit at home. Like, what am I going to do at home all day, right? So I wanted to get out and meet people, and like you said, assimilate into the culture. So it's been good for that. I still have the wholesaling company that I operate with my partner. We have our rental portfolio, which my wife manages, and then being from now over on this side of things. This was the first year I started lending money. So lending some of my personal money, like as a private money lender, and taking an interest on that. So I would say that's been one of the things I'm most excited about, is finally having my money make money for me, like lending someone $60K so they can put it in sector position on a flip. Getting that interest payment is like, I'd rather have that $600 than like a $25,000 assignment fee. So that's been amazing. And then also, some people in Portland that are flipping a lot of houses that don't have the liquidity that they need due to the volume of deals that they're doing. I'm now becoming, I guess, a partner on those deals where I'm lending money and then we go 50-50 on them. So I guess you could say I have I'm pretty busy, but I have my finger in a lot of different things and a lot of different aspects of real estate investing, plus the job that I'm doing.
The highest level investor now. Now you're just the bank.
Be the bank. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to any property ever at all.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
So how have you
But it's
liked?
caused me to grow as an investor.
Yeah. Can you speak more to the lending? Because we actually haven't talked to that many people who are like lending their money, because so many people get into doing their own deals.
Yeah.
They don't think to lend money ever do that. Can you speak to like why you like doing that, what it looks like, how you pick a deal? Because the downside to that is you lose. I've lent money and lost it all doing that. So like, how do people know like what to do and what not to do as they're looking at those?
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell other people what to do and not do. I could just say like the way I've done it, which has worked for me so far. The first thing I'll say is when we moved to Colombia, we sold all the flips that we had in process, which was maybe like 5 or 6 properties. And that did something which I didn't expect. It allowed me to recapitalize all of my costs, plus get profit on those deals all at the same time without starting any new deals. So normally when you become a fix and flipper, you just always have deals going on for years. And like we did that. And there are the years where we'd look at our tax return and we're like, wow, that's a lot of money that we made. Why did we feel so poor the whole time?
Yeah.
Can you guys relate to that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Certainly.
We had all this money going out the door. Like as soon as you sell something, then you
Buy
get the
something
next
else.
one.
Yeah.
And you're paying contractors and you have down payments out there. When we sold everything, we recapitalized all that money that we had invested in those deals plus the profits. So for the first time ever, it was like, wow, look at this nest egg that we've accumulated. Let's just chill for a second, stop buying new things and figure out what to do with it. So having that sitting there in the bank account gives an incredible feeling of tranquility and power. Like you feel like no one can push you around or tell you what to do, and they can't because like you don't have a boss essentially. I mean, I know all of us don't have bosses, but we have lenders in a lot of cases, and we have to keep cranking. We have to keep working to fulfill those obligations. But I do think that everyone who fixes and flips should maybe once every couple of years sell everything, recapitalize, chill for a couple months, and then get back at it if that's what they want to do, or just reassess. But yeah, having that all that capital reaccumulated gave us some dry powder to deal with. So that's when I started lending some money to friends of mine. I haven't lent money to random people, but it's just been people that I know really, really well. You know, like people in the same circle that I have with Mike in Portland, who I know are trustworthy, who are good operators, and I'm getting an interest rate on lending them money in second position. And then the same thing with people that are willing to go 50-50 on deals and not put up any money. I'll put up all of the money, all of the holding costs, all the out-of-pocket expenses I'll cover. We'll go 50-50 on it. But only people that I really trust. We have tight paperwork that protects me. And I have, a handshake with them that no matter what the paperwork says, no matter what the market does, that they will do right by me and make me whole. For me, that's more important than the paperwork. But, I want to have both.
So you're still fix and flipping just without having to do any of the work now.
Yeah.
And then, do you wholesale?
Exactly.
Are you wholesaling that deal to that partnership that you're funding?
No, because I would just do that with my business partner. So I'm talking about
Gotcha.
people that
Okay.
are outside of coast to coast that might have a deal and need the capital. Anything that coast to coast has that we want to flip, we would do it. But last year we just wholesaled. Like we did buy manufactured homes, and those ones we have bought, fixed, and put on the market. But everything that's stick built, we wholesaled everything.
Dude,
And we had one of our best wholesaling years.
yeah.
Really? That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
Getting back to basics.
Yeah. So that was my next question. Are you seeing the market turn around from that perspective? Because I heard like 23, 24 were pretty brutal, I think, for wholesalers, but I haven't heard a ton on 25 yet.
Well, I guess our experience is our website is giving us some good deals, which we've been putting some work into that. So we're getting more leads and good quality leads from the website.
Are you running Google
Buyers
ads,
are
or-
buying. No, we haven't done that. I mean, we keep things really lean, so it's just search engine optimization.
It's just SEO.
wow.
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean, we probably will, but at this point, we really like having a lean, profitable business. But
That's
we're
crazy.
just doing our website. So
Very cool.
buyers, if it's a deal, buyers are buying. I think one thing that's really helped us is the new legislation in Oregon regulating wholesaling. So Oregon came up with legislation that you have to now register your company or register yourself as an individual if you want to be a wholesaler. So that weeded out all of the national companies. It weeded out all of the bad actors and people who are sketchy, because there's reputation requirements and track record requirements. Like if you are a sketchy person, you do bad business, that's actually one of the requirements. You would not be able to wholesale in the state of Oregon.
Oh.
You have to pass an FBI background check. You have to get fingerprinted. There's a number of things that you have to do. You have to give sellers a lot of disclosures. You have to tell them now that you're wholesaling. You have to be like, I'm going to wholesale your
that's
property.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Has
actually
not been an obstacle for us.
yeah, no, it's been good, right?
So we're
because
super happy with the
wholesaling not used to not
Right.
actually be a thing. It was just a marketing term used for a business that was not regulated because there was no requirements around it. And when something's not regulated, you can't enforce any business principles or metrics. And now the Oregon Real Estate Association, which does property management and realtor agency stuff, brings it into the fold. Now there's a body you can complain to where they have websites and public notifications and a process of approval. And so if you tarnish your reputation, and there's plenty of high volume people out there that have a terrible reputation, even if they send you marketing that shows BBB, AAA credit, whatever, there's now an actual way to tarnish a reputation.
Yeah.
So are people still wholesaling without that though? And are title companies like required to check their license or approval status or whatever it is?
I don't know. That's a great question. I think that there's no regulation that I know of at this point. It would probably be complaint driven is my guess. I don't think there's any level that's scrutinizing like who's wholesaling and if they have a license. And as far as people are, I'm sure some are, but probably a lot aren't. Because if you violate any of the rules, it's like jail time and huge fines.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the rules are more just disclosure oriented, right? So you have to disclose when you're making the offer what's happening. That gives the seller a rescission period. You have to disclose to end buyers that this is an assignment. So there's various layers and levels of disclosure that have to take place.
Yeah.
And I don't do wholesaling, I don't know, but I imagine escrow started getting wind of the liability aspect of this a few years ago. And so they, at least our company, started requiring certain things because we don't wholesale, but we will change entities that from, I'm 100% here, create a different entity.
Yeah, sign it.
Yeah, and so they really want some specific languages on or verbiage on addendums to protect their liability. So I imagine they're looking for disclosure statements. That's the only thing a title company could do was were all these disclosures provided, were they all acknowledged, and that checks the box. But it is complaint
I don't think that they're even looking for that though yet.
Yeah, it may not even be
I don't
on the
think title
radar.
companies are checking the paperwork in that regard.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean,
I will say that
You go.
I will say that we really like it. Besides the fact that there's less competition, the conversations with sellers are much more transparent. Now we're less, in the beginning, the way that most people are taught is, hey, we're going to have a property inspection. There's going to be some other partners, some contractors that walk through. That's kind of the conversation you have with sellers. And then you wholesale it, and they don't care who the buyer is at the end of the day, and everybody's happy. There's a lot of ways that can go wrong. But now we say, hey, we'll buy your house, and this is the price that we'll offer. And then they might say, well, that's too low. And we'll say, okay, we could potentially come up, but we are going to wholesale your house. If he wants to go higher, we're going to wholesale it. And this is what that means. It means that we might not be the actual end buyer. We're going to show it to a bunch of other investors that we know in Portland and Oregon. So it's fully transparent. That way, if we need to go back and say, hey, we got an offer, but it wasn't your price, we need to renegotiate our contract and lower it to this price if you want to get a deal done with us. Otherwise, you're free to cancel. And so those conversations have been transparent. Everybody's happy. It also allows a way for sellers to test the market to see if they could get their price with an easy, clean deal, the wholesale route, before putting it live on the MLS, which now has a date and price history. So if they overprice it on the MLS, things could get stale on there. It could get hard to sell. If they have a price in mind, they could test it the wholesale route first or the cash buyer route first. If they don't get it, then they go live.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, it sounds like wholesale. The goal of that was almost just to hold wholesalers to the same regulation that brokers were held to. Because not like all the stuff that you're saying is just stuff that we had to do anyways. And so it was like, and when we would try to wholesale a deal, it was like both of the contracts said, this is how much money I intend to make. And then this is how much money I'm making. Like when to the person that's selling the house or whatever it was. I mean, we did some land stuff where it was like, this is how much we're going to try to sell it for. And then on the back end, it was like, this is what I have it under contract for. I intend to make a profit. Like you don't want to sell this on the market, so I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm going to probably make more money because of that. Are you good with that? And then disclosing everything else, and nobody cares. I mean,
that's the beauty of it's not like Bitcoin. You have to pay market price. You can negotiate stuff.
Yeah,
but it just sheds light, and when you start shedding light, it creates education. And so, and one of the biggest complainers is other brokers that are, they're hurt because you're talking to people that they're trying to talk to. So it's all under the same agency, and it just brings education, clarity.
Scott, can you speak to how you're running the company and how you pared it down? Because we see that problem a lot with wholesalers and running into the headaches.
Yeah, I would say that there was a period of time, maybe like 2022, 23, where I was really focused on growing my company, and like I was listening to the podcast and going to the seminars and like trying to really scale things. And so I had multiple acquisition managers. I had people driving for dollars for me. We were sending lots of direct mail. We were cold calling. We were text messaging. We had our website. So I'd say like stress level was high. We were doing a good number of deals, but if we didn't do a deal, then it's like 20K out the door that month. Mm-hmm. Or we would sometimes do a deal and make 10 or 15,000. We'd feel like, thank God, we're like, we can pay what we need to pay this month. Mm-hmm. And like we would make 10 or 15K and that money was just spent immediately. And so I didn't love that kind of stress. And especially like you said, when the market dipped when interest rates went up, which I think was 22 or 23, deals were really hard to come by. And so that's when I was like, I cannot sustain this level of marketing activity and people working for me with a really, really tough market. So I started a process that took a year or two of simplifying my company, with reducing the number of people working for me and reducing marketing channels. And what our company looks like now is just extreme. It's almost like it was in the very beginning when it was just me. Now it's just me and a partner. My partner does the appointments with sellers and he handles the disposition process. And our only marketing channel is our website, where we have a website and we do SEO. And like, as far as systems and processes, we're not doing a whole lot of that right now. When we were growing and scaling the company, I had big SOPs and I would make sure like we did regular trainings. Like it's a lot of work. And, I think one problem we ran into, which a lot of wholesaling companies do, is we can't afford to hire a bunch of full-time employees. So you come up with like hourly structures and commission structures, or potentially no base plus commission or small base plus commission. And so there's a certain instability there for the people who are working for you, and maybe they do or maybe they don't make enough that they need to, but you're not getting like fully committed people thinking like an owner. Mm-hmm. So with the structure I have now, we're really light on the processes, but my partner thinks like an owner. He now makes decisions as good or better as I would.
Yeah, I mean, that makes total sense.
And that relieves all the processes from my plate.
Well, and 20% of what you were doing was making you most of your money anyways. So I assume you just kept the best acquisitions manager, and he's your partner now. Yeah. And then you said, okay, we can run super lean on the website and just do SEO, and then we're still going to get leads. Our payroll is zero. Let's just make some money and not have to worry about it. And you're going to close everything because he knows what he's doing and you know what you're doing. And you're not spending all your time training other people who are never going to do it as well as you do it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, at this point, neither one of us are interested in like scaling a company. Maybe down the road, if the website really starts cranking more leads than we can handle.
Yeah.
But we really like the company the way it is right now. And I think like for anyone that wants to build up a rental portfolio or flip houses, they should have some version of this where they get their own leads and get their own deals. Mm-hmm. Because you could wholesale what you don't want and then have the best prices on what you do want.
Mm-hmm. I like how you're talking about systems, decisions, and scaling. One thing that what I've been going through my brain a lot lately is systems. I'm just an anti-systems guy, and the more you scale, the more you have to rely on systems. And the reason being is the more you have systems, the less people will think. When you have boxes to check, it's really easy to check a box without thinking, what could be different with this actual check? And so the beauty of that is when you now remove your processes and your systems and you're actually making thoughtful decisions. But there is this fine line of you just can't be too big when you do that. There's this level of clarity and speed when you are small. And that's why there's this death trap of being not big enough, too small, you know.
We ran into that problem recently where we were trying to outsource too much of it to our staff, and we got too far away from the things we were really good at.
Yeah.
And it slowed down like us getting deals because we were trying to train people, but they couldn't. Like we view it as simple because we've been doing this for like close to 10 years now.
Yeah.
And it's just like people just were like, yeah, this is how you structure the deal. But that took 10 years to get to that point, and we're just like, it seems so simple. Like this person can do it that's never done it before.
Yeah. We were sitting in the car, and I was just like, how do we have one deal under contract? It's like when it was just the two of us, when it was just me, like we would have 3 deals under contract. When Trevor was running a different company, and Trevor was getting residential deals under contract to sell so we could make money, and then I was just running the acquisitions company, it was like we had more deals under contract.
Yeah, your failure
like what
rate-
is going on?
failure
And then it
rate
was
goes
the
up.
same thing. It's like you have 20% of the war. It's like, okay, what is the thing getting all the deals actually under contract? And it was like, oh, it's us. Like we can't get so far away that, because one, nobody's ever going to want the deal as bad as we want the deal, and then two, even if they did want it as bad as we wanted it, which they won't and don't, they don't know as well as we do what a deal is. And so like, because now when we look at a deal, it's like I know what the motivations are on both sides of the deal. I know whether or not it's even feasible, not the financial side of it, because even front end, if it financially isn't feasible, but I know everybody's cards, I know what position everybody's in, it's like, no, it has to be financially feasible at some point because these guys have to do X, Y, Z. And so it's like, no, we just need to sit down and talk with them. Like explain their options. We'll talk about what we want out of it. And then the deal is going to get done. But it's like, if your goal is to just find like, okay, we buy deals that are 20 to 150.
You can't process that.
No, you can't.
You can't
and
put
that's
that what you just said into a
it's
process.
not, it's tacit. And it just takes time to feel that out. And that's the piece where it's like, business is done with friends. It's like, okay, it's the business, even buyer and seller, is done through a relationship and like understanding what both people's needs are. And you said that at the start of the episode, and it's like, that's the piece that we can't get away from, where when you're trying to like do a real estate transaction, especially the like 20 to 100, like the size that we're trying to do, everybody knows it's going to be a 6-month contract. It's like from the day that we engage somebody to the day that we close, 6 months minimum. Like, I mean, obviously in the future, it'll end up being closer to like 90 days, but that's like from when you go under contract, not when you start negotiating, right? And so it's like, we can't do the thing where we say, okay, we just want this cap rate at this. It's like, you can't.
It's the buy box.
You don't get deals done by just looking at cap rates.
Yeah, it's going beyond the buy box. It's easy to tell someone what your buy box is, but how do you get them to think beyond that?
Yeah.
And that's training. That is our job, to replicate ourselves with other human beings.
Yeah. I mean, the buy box is half the battle.
And I will say, with my business partner that I have now, he was my acquisition manager, and I did all that training. I invested a lot into him. I never tried to keep information from him. I showed him what I was thinking, why I was thinking that way, how much money we made on the deal, exactly what all the softwares were. He knew my business inside and out as well as I did. So once he did, it was only natural that he had to move up. He either had to go off on his own, which he did for a year, but since our website started doing well, and like we had already built something with Coast to Coast, we're a brand where people know us, trust us, respect us. We have great reviews and ratings out there, and like he was a part of that, so it only made sense for him to come back and be a partner. But the reason he could make decisions like I can is because of all the training up front, like Mike said.
Yeah. No,
but I don't think you could train someone like that and keep them in acquisitions. Eventually they'll just go off on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, people have a certain, exactly. And I think that's one reason, like you said, people will gravitate out of wholesaling, because if you have a different business acumen, there's better rewards.
I was curious, side note, what's the cost of living at where you're at versus like the US?
Our expenses have gone up. They're higher here in Bogota than Portland.
Really?
But the quality of life that we get for that is much, much higher. So,
okay. So
let me
your
explain.
relative expense. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, our actual expenses are higher here.
Yeah.
So back in Oregon, I got a good deal on my house, low interest rate. So we owned our own home, but my mortgage payment was like $1,200 a month. We moved here, and we are renting, and our rent is like $2,500 a month. But that's what I needed to pay to get the kind of place that I want to live in, which is a very nice place. And you guys should come down here and see it and hang out.
He wants people to visit so bad. He mentioned
one day, Mike, you'll come down.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will. But let's also be relative.
And then,
so your mortgage payment was $1,200, but what can you rent? What did you rent that house for in Oregon?
Furnished like $5,500. We rented it furnished for $5,500. Yeah, and then 5,000, and then we have been vacant for 4 months after that. So now we're selling it.
Yeah. But if you rented it long term, could you get $2,500 for it?
Yeah, I mean for sure.
So the market
$2,500 to $3,000.
Yeah, the market rate for what you could get in Beaverton, Oregon, Tigard, Oregon, versus what you can get in Colombia. What comes along with that $2,500 per month? What's your setup like? What are the services? What do you expect when you wake up every morning?
I mean, our place is considered really nice for Bogota. I mean, Bogota has some phenomenal places, but we're top level penthouse. 3 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, maid's quarters, kitchen. The balcony is a wraparound balcony, so we have views of all sides of the city, mountain views, city views. It's a really nice place, and it's furnished, and the owner's an artist, so there's like all this nice artwork all around.
No way.
She has good taste. And then we have a maid that comes a few times a week, so the maid's like $20 to $25 a day, and she does all the cleaning, laundry. She cooks for us.
Brother.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, the maid, really, like if I could sell people on doing the
Our
international
expenses
thing,
went up.
like
Yeah,
the maid is the main thing, because that keeps the wife happy, and there's like no stress at home when
That's
there used to be
crazy.
stress around cleaning and cooking and laundry.
Yeah.
Is Alejandra happier being around her family? Back closer to her family?
Yeah, she's really happy being close to her mom and her sister, and also having that like all that household stuff taken off her shoulders. She was doing a lot of that, plus she was flipping houses back in Oregon. Like she was really busy. Plus managing the kids. Like that's one thing I haven't mentioned till now is like the house flipping. I was just finding the deals and negotiating. Then I would turn it over to my wife, and she would manage the contractors and get it ready for sale.
Whoa.
Yeah, she did a lot.
So she's not doing that now. So now she goes and gets her nails done. She goes to the gym. She gets her hair done like all the time.
Quality
So
of life has gone up.
life's much less stressful. Yeah,
Yeah.
quality of life's gone way up.
That's
Man,
awesome.
I'm ready to shut down Rarebird.
Have you looked at buying real estate where you're at?
I've thought about it. I just want to keep things simple. So no. Yeah, I mean, there's good. Yeah, there would be certain investments that I think would be really good, like maybe in Cartagena, which is a global, like world-class city, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. They have these old Spanish houses in the old city that are literally close to 500 years old, and those you could rent out for $1,000 a night or more for weddings. So like these are really, really. I think if I were to invest, it'd be in Cartagena in the old town.
How much does one of those cost?
I don't know. I'll be staying in one in a couple days, so I'll put some feelers out and find out. Because they still have like there's the ones that have been all done and have a lot of bedrooms, and I would assume in the millions. But then there's also ones that are just completely dilapidated, and I don't know, like probably less, probably 500,000, 700,000 if I had to guess.
Wow.
There's a lot of money down here. I mean, yes, it is a developing country. There's a lot of poverty, but there's also a lot of wealth.
Well, there's a time
You have
when
like the coffee trade, oil and gas trade, other illicit trades. There's a lot of money
yeah.
around.
I was going to say there's a time when there was a man down there who was making more money than anyone in the world. Not legally, but
Yeah, and supposedly, like we've heard that. I heard from a taxi driver in his old neighborhood that he has firsthand knowledge that money is buried.
whoa, no,
Like,
yeah,
to this day, there's money buried,
heard
and
there's
people and
stores,
certain
yeah.
people know where it is,
Oh, I didn't know that.
but they wouldn't dig it up. Yeah, like people know where it is, but they wouldn't dig it up because they would get whacked.
Well, it only makes sense. I mean, it's like he wasn't put it in a bank. It's like he was
he
making
was.
Yeah.
he was
There's
making
just a
a
lot of overflow.
lot of money.
What's it relative? What's Colombia like relative to the income and the taxes in the countries around it? So we'll get into this in the next episode, but Scott and I have been talking about funds, and people that want to raise money in Colombia actually raise it in the country next door because of a trade agreement for lower taxation. So,
yeah, exactly. I'll answer that question, but I wanted to go back to the last question on the cost of living. We get health care here for our family for about $650 per month. That covers our family, but it's first tier health care. Like if our child is sick and throwing up at 1 a.m, we call our health insurance and they send a doctor for a house visit within 20 to 30 minutes.
wow.
We can get any test done, no copays, any procedure done that's needed. So like I would say that is one of our favorite things is like we just never went to the doctor in Oregon because we were self-employed. We had a really high deductible that made it affordable for us. And here, like we can go to the doctor, we could do blood tests, we can get everything checked out. So that's been really, really one of the best things for us. And then the other question that you asked was taxes. So taxes are high here. People pay 35% like income and 35% business. So 35% business income and then personal income. So what we're talking about is I'm looking into raising money here in Colombia. So with we send our kids to private school, and a lot of the dads here have businesses, and people are always like asking, what'd you do back in the States? We talk about real estate. So the way to raise money is to actually create another fund in Peru. You send it to Peru, then you send it from Peru to the United States. You do the project, the returns are made. You send it back to Peru. Peru has an agreement with Colombia that instead of a 35% tax that the people would have to pay, it's just a 5% tax. When you pay the 5% tax in Peru, the tax has now been considered paid, and then Colombia doesn't tax it again.
Wow. That's a better deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Much better deal.
So what do you call Peru? Like wealth adjacent? Right? So just by being adjacent to Colombia, it gets this free kind of carve out of Colombian money returns.
So are those people interested in U.S. real estate, or are they scared by it, or what is their thought on it when you're talking to them about raising money?
Down here, everyone wants to invest in Florida because that's the South American dream, is just to go to Miami. Like if you go on vacation, you want to go to Disney World in Orlando and then go to Miami. So people want to own in Florida. But people also like money and returns. So that's to be determined if they're willing to invest in Oregon.
Yeah.
But I hope and think that they will, because the returns that we can get out in Oregon are really good.
Yeah.
What other investment options do they have down there, and what kind of returns are they achieving? Like when you offer them a deal, does that seem really high to them compared to their other options, or normal? Or?
I mean, the IRRs sound really good to them. I haven't set up the fund yet, so I haven't gotten into nitty gritty to actually put a deal in front of them. But talking about the IRRs that we can get, people are they say that's great. And being down here in Colombia, the peso's volatile, governments are volatile. Like I said, a politician got assassinated, so people they look for stability, and the U.S. dollar is always a source of stability, even though it's currently devaluing. But we're feeling, because we earn dollars and spend in pesos, our expenses have gone up, I think about 25% in the last 12 months because of the devaluation of the dollar. But people still like to invest in the United States where it's secure, and it's a hedge against the peso.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everything else is devaluing too. I'm not defending the dollar, but it's not the only one.
Yeah.
It's everything. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I have so many thoughts on that, but I don't need to go into an economic talk. I put some money in some other hard assets recently outside of real estate for that reason though, to hedge against the dollar. Cause I do agree with you. The dollar is devaluing more than I think we're feeling, maybe, is the way that I would put it. I think that we feel as though we have inflation under control, but I think that the dollar is, very, very close to going back to the deflation that we saw 2, 3, 4 years ago. So that's my humble opinion. We got a lot of bonds that are maturing, and the government is buying them back in so many ways and not really saying that they're buying them back.
So many ways.
Yeah. But I think we'll be $1 trillion into buybacks.
Kevin Marsh is going to fix all that.
Oh, perfect. All right, let's end on that note. Everything looks great coming
Well, what I
up.
can say, the dollar has devalued 16% against the peso since I've moved here in 1 year.
Wow, that's crazy.
So at our current spending level, it's a significant amount of money.
Yeah.
I can't speak to other currencies, but like against the peso,
Yeah.
it's kind of
Well, hey,
kinda whack.
that means we got some, the peso's doing real well. I'll say that. It hasn't
It's
devalued
all
that
because of the
much
peso.
relative to the euro.
Means your trip to Mexico costs a lot more. That's not good.
Yeah.
We won't speak to that.
All right.
All right.
All right. Next episode.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Dude, thank you.
Yeah.
You
Thanks, Scott.
You ready to get into deals?
Thanks, guys.
If
This
people
is
want to
fun.
get a hold of you and like buy a wholesale flip, tell us like how they can contact you and if you're looking for anything.
Yeah. I would say my email address is scott@coasttocoasthousebuyers.com, and that's the number 2, scott@coasttocoasthousebuyers.com. I have an Instagram, which I don't really use, but it's, I think it's like Scott.Dallinger Real Estate, something like that. If you type it in, you'll find me.
Sweet. Good deal. Well, thanks, Scott. Appreciate you joining us. And
Thanks,
we
guys. This is
appreciate-
a fun podcast and different than all the other ones I've done.
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
I'm going to hit stop.
Well, wait. Thanks for listening, Deal Junkies. Please like
bad.
the
So bad.
episode, share it with your friends.
Smash that subscribe button.
Just share it with a friend that you care about, who you know wants to hear about Peruvian real estate
You
or
heard it,
Colombian
not
real
like
estate.
any of the other podcasts out there.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Adios.